94, 98, 99. Jeez, this thing is quick. Hi guys, Tish here, your go-to girl for everything electric on 4 wheels. Welcome back to the Electroheads channel. Today, I am so excited about the car I'm getting to drive. You guys know that I get to drive all kinds of electric cars, everything from super minis to retros to classics to even those SUVs. But very often nowadays, it doesn't really faze me when it comes to electric. Yes, okay, they're great, but they are just another electric car. It takes something really special to grab my attention. And something that I wasn't expecting is for that really special car to be the Smart #1. In fact, when I first saw this car advertised, I didn't really like it.
Ouch.
I didn't really like the look of it, and I just thought, oh God, it's another electric SUV. But then Lookers invited me to take a closer look. And when I started finding out how much range this thing has, how fast it can charge, and all of the technology you get for standard for the price, well, it's kind of won me over. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you why I think it's going to win you over as well. So if that sounds good, then please do keep watching. And if you like new car reviews and car content, then this is the place to be. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. There is, however, one area where the Smart is yet to win me over, and that's in exterior styling. Gone are the compact smart cars, and in its place is a chubby, strange proportioned SUV. Though not my favourite looking electric car, the contrasting roof and front and rear light bar fit the Smart's fun appeal. At 4.3 metres long, the Smart #1 is the same size as the Mini Countryman, a car considered a key competitor, and even more so when it arrives in its electric form. Inside of the Smart, you'll find a cabin quite clearly targeted at a younger audience, with premium Mercedes multicoloured lighting and gloss wishbone interior that dominates the cabin. Though plastics have been used throughout, I don't actually mind, as they're the premium kind and they lift the ambience rather than being scratchy and cheap. And the list of premium features is impressive, with all models getting a 360-degree camera, a pan sunroof, heated leather seats and an electric boot. In fact, the Smart #1, with a starting price of just under £36,000, when stacked up next to its rivals considering spec, it looks downright good value. I'm hoping at some point I can actually do a deep dive into the Smart #1's infotainment system, because honestly, there is so much to cover. I've seen a lot online about how it's very laggy. I don't really find it all that laggy, she says as she presses something, it doesn't actually come up. But when I have been playing around with it, I haven't found it to be too much of an issue. All I do know is that I absolutely love this little fox here. So this guy is called the Smartest Fox. I guess you could say he's a bit of a mascot for the #1, and I love this because as you navigate around the screen, so that's pull down the screen and you can navigate around certain things like opening and closing the windows. You've got your ambient lighting down the bottom there. If you go for the middle spec premium car, you get a full interior lighting package. And it's so cool. It's exactly what you'd find in premium Mercedes. The little fox, see him there, he's on his little parachute. I'm flying. And let's see what else we can get him to do. So as we go through the rest of the interior, you can also do things like, let's get to the climate control. So bring up the main climate setting, there he is again, and then here's where there's some little quirky features. So go into air quality, and this car actually has smart air, which is essentially a function which automatically tests all the air and it makes sure that it's purified. But if you hit deodorization, watch what happens. The windows open and suddenly we're blasted with some air. Now this is to remove perhaps any nasty smells that are happening in the cabin.
Stinky.
Smart claims 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour for this car in the longest range, which actually isn't that efficient. And here at Millbrook, on a warm day, I'm currently seeing an indicated 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. And I'm pretty sure that being thrown around a hill track isn't exactly your everyday driving conditions. So how much you can actually take that into consideration, yeah, I'm not really sure. Whichever version you go for, the Hashtag 1 is powered by a 66 kilowatt hour battery, giving you an official range of 273 miles if you have one motor, or 248 miles if you go for the twin motor Brabus version. Impressively, it can tow up to 1,600 kilograms, the same as the Kia EV6. All versions will accept up to 150 kilowatts from a CCS plugged-in rapid charger to give a sub 30-minute 10 to 80% charging time, while your standard 7.4 kilowatt wall box will manage the same feat in around 7.5 hours. Mid-range models and above can also benefit from 3-phase 22 kilowatt AC charging using a Type 2 plug, dropping the time down to less than 3 hours. The ride of the Hashtag 1 is pretty settled considering it's riding on 19-inch alloy wheels, which are standard. But when you hit the occasional pothole, it will send a bit of a shock through the cabin. Despite this, it's clear that the setup has been to focus on comfort. One slight drawback to the driving experience is the tuning of the regenerative braking in one pedal driving mode. The Hashtag 1 slows down if you lift off of the accelerator, and if you put it in its stronger settings, it can be quite abrupt and a bit jerky, more so than other electric cars. So you will have to be delicate with the pedal. Now let's just talk about this gear selector. God, I hate these so much. I've always hated these in all Mercedes-derived cars. Having it behind the steering wheel just feels so alien if you're used to a regular gear selector. I know that a lot of cars, even if you go for the Volkswagen Group cars, are now a twisty one that's behind the steering wheel. But even that, at least it doesn't feel like an indicator or where your window wipers are, so that might take a little bit getting used to. To be honest, the smart Hashtag 1, well, it drives exactly how I expected it to drive, like a lot of electric SUVs really. There's nothing that stands it aside. I'd say that it actually feels a little bit firmer. It's not quite as squishy as something like the DS3 E-Tense, or if you go for one of the Citroen models. That's not necessarily a bad thing though, because it feels a little bit more engaging. The only problem is that I don't think... Fatigue alarm, please drive carefully. Apparently it thinks I need a break even after that first 5 minutes of driving. Brabus is back, baby, and small bonkers cars are my thing. Except the Smart isn't exactly small anymore. While the regular rear-wheel drive Hashtag 1 gets a single motor for the back axle producing 268 brake horsepower, the Brabus adds a further 154 brake horsepower motor on the front. Together, they produce an insane 422 brake horsepower. Blimey. Blimey. Mechanical changes are minimal, mind you. You get a revised front suspension system to deal with the added weight of the motor, and a Brabus driving mode to unleash 422 brake horsepower. But that's about it. So it gets the same size wheels and even those brakes. The suspension is even tuned to replicate the comfort of the standard car, so there's no optional stiffer setup for adaptive dampeners. There is something so special about red seat belts and an Alcantara steering wheel. Even if this car didn't have 422 brake horsepower, it feels incredibly sporty just as soon as you sit behind the wheel. Smart have done exactly what I think Cupra should have done with the Cupra Born. Let's face it, the Cupra Born, well, it wasn't actually any more powerful than if you went for the standard car. Smart, however, have gone all out with the Brabus. They've produced a proper fast car, and it really does feel very special. Check out the interior. This is very Mercedes, right? You've got an Alcantara steering wheel, you've got Alcantara seats. Not really sure about these Brabus headrests. Perhaps they look a little bit tacky. Should I say that? I don't know. But the rest of the car, yeah, it's very cool. In fact, it kind of takes that slightly cheaper element out of the Hashtag 1, because this centre console is now finished in this almost carbon effect. It's not quite, it's more of a dark grey, but it looks really fancy, especially with the same interior lighting. You've also got the red stitching around the leather. Yeah, it takes the already premium feel of the Hashtag 1 and then it just elevates it further. But anyway, less about the interior, less about the exterior. What we really need to see is what this thing is made of. Now we're about to go on the high-speed bowl, and this is my first time going on the high-speed bowl. The reason why we have to go on the high-speed one is because actually this is a pre-production model which isn't allowed to be on regular routes. So the only way I can actually test it, well, is to go very, very fast. And let's go. I'm gonna pop my foot down. We've got to go a maximum of 100 miles per hour. Wow, this is incredible. And this is only in the standard economy mode. So if I change the driving mode to Brabus, jeez, this thing is quick. 94, 98, 99, it pulls all the way to 100 miles per hour. There is no teetering off. As soon as you put your foot down, it really holds its own. The steering is very well weighted. There's no particular wobble. There's a little bit of body roll, but to be honest, it's actually kept quite to a minimum. That firmer suspension or lack of firmer suspension is definitely missing in this car. It doesn't feel quite right to be going 100 miles per hour and for it to still feel, well, quite comfortable really. It doesn't feel like I'm doing a ridiculous amount of speed. So apart from that absolutely ludicrous power, what's actually different about the Brabus version of the #1? Well, for one, it's the paint colours. So you may be wondering if this matte grey is standard to the Brabus, and it's actually available on the other versions of the #1 as well. But what is only available in the Brabus is the red roof. You also get lots of red accents around this car. You can see it on the bottom of the front bumper, and you've also got some red parts in the grille as well. The front and rear bumpers are also slightly chunkier. It actually increases the length of the car by 4 centimetres overall. You also get the same size alloy wheel, but in a slightly different design. You also get a set of red brake calipers as well. But the brakes aren't actually upgraded, which I think's insane for a car which has nearly 500 brake horsepower to still be on the same brakes. You also get red wing mirrors to match with the roof, and these pop-out door handles on this one. You have the red and then smart on those as well. Very, very cool. And then right at the bottom of this side skirt here, you've got the Brabus badge. Around the back, again, you've got a similar story. So you've got that darkened rear light bar. You've got a more aggressive, or as aggressive as an electric car can be, rear diffuser, and just a slightly different paint scheme. Well, what do you think? Am I mad for this now being my favourite electric SUV? It just has so many cool gadgets and gizmos. It really has won me over. But has it won you over as well? Let me know in the comments down below. Maybe you'd go for something else. What would it be? Let me know which you'd go for. If you've enjoyed this video today, guys, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more, then you know what to do. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Until next time, bye.